Yeah, me. Nation's largest 5G network. $0 a month. I would even able to keep my number from picking me up for free. It's so easy. All I have to do is download the app. My house, everything I need to use. My favorite games to play. Connect my phone anytime. Download the app.
Hey, everybody, welcome. We're back. It's been way too long. It's been a long, long time since I streamed at all. It's been like 2.5 weeks since I had any streams at all. My mom came in town.
Your mom came in town.
Got him. Your gain's way too high, my dude. Turn your gain down by like 20.
Sounds like when I'm in the gym, my gains are always super high.
That's true. Yeah.
When I go to that iron church.
That's whenever we think about Fox, we think about his swole gains. Is that how you say it? Swole gains?
No. Gains are the progress you make. Being swole is being like buff, you know.
Got it. Good. Thank you.
Come on, you wouldn't know this kind of stuff.
Right,
Exactly. You don't go to the iron church like I do.
Yeah, they need to build your church out of something different, man.
It's horribly inefficient, very expensive. Everything is metal. It's weird.
You could probably turn it down another like 10% there.
How's that? I moved it away from me.
That's much better. That's really good.
I'm just a loud person.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, anyway, so my mom was in town. Then I was out of town at a conference. And I was like, we came back and everything was ready. And I was ready to stream yesterday. And then my youngest daughter's hamster died. And she was quite distraught. And so I took the day off and we hung out together. And so we're back, though. We're back on our streaming schedule. Things are back and normal again. But we are running a little bit short on time here. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the podcast. Hang on. Where is this? So, hey, if you guys don't know, this isn't just a fun stream. This is also a podcast. And in this podcast, we record this and then syndicate it later as a podcast itself. So, which means that we are not going to be interacting with the chat during the podcast, but keep posting, keep talking in the chat as if we will respond, because we go back later, and later on as we go back, then we come back through and we go ahead and do the thing. So, are you ready to do the podcasting?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think it's me today. And then not E3, so 2024 is what I'm going to say. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me stop the music. All right. In 3, 2. Today on the Nerdy Gritty, not E3 2024.
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. Well, they make some man instead. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am your host, just host right across the plate, because it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Fox.
Coming in 2026 and 25 and now as well, but also coming in 2026, I'm Des.
Well, nobody knows the future, Des. So we'll find out.
That's James. Yeah, you don't know, man. Book of James.
We don't know. No, yeah. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, Fox, we're talking.
If my plans come to fruition, we'll see.
Then you'll have a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
Hey, Fox, we had a lot of really cool games pop up for not E3, all those sorts of different things here and there. But one game certainly caught a lot of people's attention, especially yours, but everybody's attention.
It's definitely mine.
And that is Doom: The Dark Ages, which is
The Dark Ages.
Doom,
such a good choice.
But in the Dark Ages, like it's medieval Doom. I guess Dark Ages
getting
were
even
medieval,
more
but...
heavy metal album cover.
Yes.
If possible, it's now even more of a heavy metal album cover.
So we thought today we would do some speculation here. Doom is also is always known for its unique weaponry,
wonderful weapons,
visceral weaponry. So
yeah.
We thought we'd come
this
up.
This time it's getting even better though.
Yes. So we thought we'd come up with some wonderful new ideas for weapons that they could and should be using in Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
So Fox, what do you think, man? Right off the bat.
hold on, let me give you a quick rundown of what's in the trailer,
Oh,
so we
okay.
don't, double dip.
Right.
We got the super shotgun, which is just a classic Doom weapon.
Yeah.
We got the the chainsaw is back, but it's now your shield.
Yes.
You now have a Captain America shield with a chainsaw blade wrapped around it. This is the coolest thing of all time.
Take that, physics. How does it bounce around?
One of the best weapons I've ever seen, and the most Doom thing I've ever heard of, is a what's it called? What are they calling it? It's the Skull Crusher. It's a gun that grinds up skulls and turns them
shoots
into
them, yeah.
bullets and shoots. It's the coolest thing ever.
Like,
There's
that
the
sounds like something we would make up. Like,
Yeah, 100%, exactly. There's the plasma rifle. That's a classic. Your a melee focus or a melee weapon you have is a flail now.
Yes.
Again, very medieval. Got a nail gun.
we
Apparently,
don't even have to make them up. These are all just
Yeah.
good.
Just talk about the. Then of course it's kind of it's a weapon of sorts, but you get to ride on a cyborg dragon apparently, so that's great. Then there's some those are all the main. There's a big mech that you get that we'll get to walk around in. I'm pumped about that. So anyway, let's come up with some things. You know what I think can be improved?
What's that?
There's been grenades in the last 2 Doom games.
Right.
But they're just kind of straight across the plate grenades. There's a couple of types of them. What if you collected, instead of, you didn't pick up a grenade, you picked up some like ingredients for a grenade, like when you picked up shrapnel, you just had shrapnel, but in order to have a grenade, you had to rip the head off an enemy and shove and explode.
Ooh.
Like you have that you make the grenade yourself, and that way that would be another way you can kill an enemy. You can do just shoot them with stuff. You can do your visceral kill that gives you ammo, or you can do a different murderous thing where you're specifically ripping their head off, turning it into a grenade.
Yeah, and then you just huck it.
Then you have some grenades, like you can get then you just throw it right there. That actually would grenades would be in the moment you decide to get one and use it. That's
you
a
could
good
even say
idea.
these demons are so evil that their minds are explosive, and you can use
Yeah.
that to tear their heads off.
Yeah,
and throw it.
use Doomslayer magic. Well,
Yeah.
You don't need to explain it.
Exactly. I love it. Okay, that's spectacular. I love the idea of throwing the head. I thought of a new weapon entirely that I call the Bayonanin. And the way the Bayonanin works, yes.
How do you say this?
Bayonanin?
Bayonanin.
Yes. You'll get the portmanteau here in a second.
Okay, cool.
You know how when you and I donate plasma, they have the larger gauge of needle that they use to take our plasma, and it's kind of a wider one.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but this big,
Okay.
a full 12 inches across, at the end of a cannon, and it's a bayonet, but also a cannon. It's a bayonanin, and you run up and you shove it into an enemy. Then you blast the cannon, and the enemy is the weapon. It's the shrapnel of the enemy itself shooting
So
everywhere.
not just a skull, an entire
Yes.
cacodemon gets shredded up
You just-
inside.
Because you just shove the whole thing into the enemy, just stab them with it, and then you
Ugh.
blast it, and the whole thing explodes, sending bone and gut shrapnel everywhere. It's an area of effect attack. We're
That
killing
sounds very
we're killing
gross.
demons, so this is all very good, guys. This is all good stuff that we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's all it's a
Doing
Christian game.
the divine
series.
work of the Lord.
Yeah, 100%. Don't worry about the fact that you kind of just kill angels in the previous one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't worry about it. I'm looking at a list here of I just googled Dark Ages torture devices.
Oh no.
I mean, we got to lean into the idea of it being the Dark Ages,
Oh, that's a good
and
idea,
the
yeah.
specific brutality of the people in the Dark Ages. Is there a weapon we can create using the concept of the rack?
Yes, a bolo gun, but it shoots 2 bolos and they keep going separately. They have little
It
rockets on the
stretches them
end of them.
apart. Oh, that's so good.
It's like a top shot and a bottom shot. They shoot out the bolos with rockets. It wraps around arms and legs and then just keeps going.
Oh, I love it. That's disgusting. I love it.
That's a great Doom one. I love it. Okay, Okay.
That's pretty cool.
No, I like this idea too. Okay. So going with actual like former torture things, something that shoots just a box out, and it hits the enemy in the head, and the box is full of rats. And now it's just they just have a box on their head with hungry rats that
Yeah,
just start feeding on them. Yeah.
Oh my
That was a
goodness.
real thing. They put a cage with rats on your head and then just let them go do their thing.
Yeah, they stole that idea from Fast and Furious 2, Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
Bad guy.
Yeah, they
Puts a
did
rat
that
in a
first.
bucket. Yeah, they did it first. Man, I just there's so many like there's a lot of places my mind go where it's just like an even bigger laser. But those are kind of boring to me. Like the Dark Ages flavor of it has to come in, and so like I want like you've had I want the sword. You've always had the or in the last two Doom games you've had the Crucible, which is basically a sword that you can use. I want to like a sword as a typical melee weapon, but it also shoots lasers.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
basically from Zelda.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Let's just take
the
this
Master
laser
Sword.
sword.
And then
and shoot.
there's a DLC where you can buy the Master Sword as the one that does it. Like you're actually carrying around the Master Sword.
That would be a good idea. But no,
I'd buy
like
that.
let's incorporate medieval, Dark Ages weaponry and just give it that like cyberpunk, not cyberpunk, but like cybernetic, futuristic flavor.
Well, I
Like
mean,
the chainsaw shield is perfect.
right, absolutely. Well, another show has done this before, so I'm stealing it from somebody I don't remember who, but it's a giant warhammer with a rocket on one end of
Oh.
it, and so when you're bringing it down, the rocket.
Yeah, no, we were
ignites-
playing. That's in Remnant 2. That's what our
Oh,
friend
is
was
it?
playing. Was using
Oh,
in Remnant 2. They have that. Yes,
yeah.
that's what. Yeah, we started playing it on Monday, and our other friend was using it. It's a big old hammer that smashes down. But man, I'm so excited for the Dark Age. These are some of my favorite games of the last 10 years,
Okay,
and I'm
so
pumped.
Okay, let's come with a couple more because I really like your idea of going with like the medieval stuff. So
Yeah.
there are pikes, halberds, flails.
I mean, a lot of the gameplay is ranged. So if we took what would a Doom just longbow look like? What does a longbow look like in the Doom world?
Okay, I say there's your laser, right? That you
Okay.
pull back and you let go, and it just fires like an unending laser. It could be an enemy. Like I want this. How cool would it be? Because games are possible enough for this right now. If you fire that, and then like 5 minutes later in the level, you come across an enemy with a big old burnt hole in it because you shot that
Somewhere
laser
else,
way
It shoots
back.
through the entire level,
Yes,
and you might get very lucky with it.
yes. Oh, I would like that. That would be cool. As far as torture devices go, the Iron Maiden wasn't a real thing, but we like to pretend it was. So how could we like incorporate
Love that band.
an Iron Maiden into this? What would be like?
I mean, that I would be surprised if actually that wasn't part of the like environmental. They've been
Oh, just kick them
incorporating
into Iron
environmental
Maiden?
traps and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so like you can just like Spartan kick an enemy into an Iron Maiden and slam it shut
I
or
gotta
something
say,
like that.
I kind of love that Spartan kick has become a thing now.
Right, I'm sure it's just it's a front kick. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
probably a term
it's
for
just
it
a
in
front
martial
kick.
arts.
It is. It's just a front kick, but like
It's
that 300 has turned it into
it's
a
such an
Spartan
iconic
kick.
moment.
Because it's not just a kick to hurt them, like it's a kick to push them somewhere to
It's a
shove.
movement.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. Okay. Hey, Fox, I just realized I have a news article, but I didn't pull it up, so I'm going to find it while you give me your news article.
All right, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to restart, so I actually don't have mine.
Right. Hey, so maybe
Okay.
oh no, I got mine. Never mind. Here it is. That was really
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
Hey, you know what one of my if you had to guess one of my all-time favorite directors, who's up there, do you think?
Obviously, what's his name? He's best friends with Johnny Depp.
best friends with Johnny Depp?
Yeah, the guy, Batman, and I forget his name.
Oh, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Yes, Tim Burton's up there. Another guest.
Obvi.
Comedy.
Comedy. I have no idea who.
Mel Brooks.
Oh, sure, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, Mel Brooks is my favorite comedic director. He's an incredible guy. He's also at the way end of his life, and so
Yes.
other people have been coming in and kind of helping him like tie up loose ends. Hulu came out with History of the World Part 2 because
Tie
there's
up
History of the
loose
Part 1.
ends.
Yeah, well, because he came out with History of the World Part 1 and never came out with History of the World Part 2. So
right.
Hulu
I always
made
thought that was half a joke.
And
just
then
call it part 1.
It was, yes, but
Yeah.
But then it heavily referenced in the movie Spaceballs is Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money.
Oh, sure. Again, seems like more of a joke than a.
Hollywood Reporter, Spaceballs sequel in the works from Josh Gad and Mel Brooks at Amazon MGM.
Ooh, with Josh Gad.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. So a lot of these,
I've never found him funny.
When we say with Mel Brooks, it's mostly it got to be him passing over like notes that he took 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, he's a creative, producer,
and then just lets it go because the dude's in his 90s. Like he's an ancient man, an incredible human being. Yeah, but I mean, I doubt he's on set doing stuff these days. But Josh Gad and Mel Brooks are producing a project that is attached to star Josh Greenbaum. I don't know who Josh Greenbaum is.
Me neither.
Either way, Spaceballs
It's called Spaceballs: The Search for More Money.
It doesn't say actually. It better be because that's the name of the movie. Yeah. Oh, I have no idea who this guy is. Nope. I'm looking at him right now and I got nothing on this guy. Anyway, he is being tied in for the film here apparently.
Okay.
I'm trepidous on the project. Trying to recreate Mel Brooks comedy today is walking a super fine line because he was able to really successfully walk a fine line of, is this offensive? No, it's more making fun of the offensive people. Like, it's not a racist joke. It's making fun of racists for thinking it's a joke. You know, that kind of like,
sure.
It was a really satire of satire in his way. Like just this really masterful artist of comedy, the way that he weaved this today, that's a lot harder line to walk. And so to bring in that style of comedy and succeed with it is going to be really interesting. I'm very curious to see how this turns out.
Yeah, I mean, that people have always made edgy comedies. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. Some are better than others. I also do believe that you can't make Spaceballs now because it already was made, and it'd be weird to like. It would be it would not like if you made the Spaceballs movie now, it would just be seen as a throwback to Mel Brooks. It would not work as a modern comedy,
Right?
Because comedy's not even talking about like content, but just the comedy style has changed.
Right.
People expect different things out of comedy these days, and that's neither bad or worse or bad or good. They expected different comedy style from Mel Brooks in 1970 whatever than they did 30 years before that.
Right.
So like it's just a thing. Like I'm always wary of you can't make X today. Well, no, but you also shouldn't try. Like that just feels weird. Like make a movie that works today. There's plenty like whenever I see you can never make Mel Brooks because of the woke whatever. They've never watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Always Sunny in Philadelphia is just the like constantly like seemingly trying to offend as many people as possible in a certain way, but like and you might not like it. It's just there's always been edgy comedy. I for one would be very excited for this sequel. I love Spaceballs. It's a great movie, but also if it's just classic Mel Brooks style, I don't know if that would really work today because it'd
Right.
just be like a different comedy out of nowhere. But at the same time, if it's just a completely different comedy style, then like what's the point? Like it just feels weird. Like it feels like it's going to be hard to please anybody. I think is going to be with that one.
Absolutely, and that's
Yeah,
that's
it's a real
exactly my
risk.
point. That phrase right there, it's going to be hard to please anybody, be real rough, because some people are going to want the all-out Mel Brooks side of it, you
Sure.
know, or even just edgy side of it, and some people are going to want it to be a lot more, you know, modernized to today's comedy and standards and whatnot. When at the end, like really, when you look at Mel Brooks's comedy even at the time, it did that. It skated that line so
Sure.
most of the time. Obviously, he wasn't 100% successful, but really well skated that line. But he did that, trying to hand it off to Josh Gad and to do the exact same thing. That's where it's going to be like, oof. Okay, let's see how this goes. You know, again, like I've said this 100 times before. He didn't make racist jokes. He made jokes about racists. He didn't make misogynist jokes. He made jokes about misogynists. You know, and so trying to balance that line is going to be real tough. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm overall trepidous, but willing to wait and see. It's being made by Amazon, so I'm guessing it's going to be like a straight to Amazon. I doubt it's going to go to theaters.
Yeah, no, that would that'd be a pretty big risk to try to distribute to theaters.
Yeah.
These days.
So
Hey,
yeah.
let's stop talking about that and talk about real video games.
Okay.
Real
Ready.
video game creators need to know and understand the you know how people they'll make a Star Wars movie or whatever, but will never watch clearly don't understand Star Wars. Things like that.
Like that the letter that I sent you from like 1980 or whatever.
Oh man, that was the best. Anyway, well, luckily we have Spectrum Studio, a Polish video game developer, currently working on a game about involving the concept of like saunas. I'm not sure exactly I think it's still pretty early on. But
this isn't going to be like Shower with Your Dad Simulator, right? Like what's going on?
Nothing
here?
will ever be that good. That was just a great classic game. So they're making a game. Let's see how they describe it. Here we go. I found it. Okay. Spectrum Studio is working on a new groundbreaking game, a mix of Life is Strange, Final Fantasy, Heart of Darkness, The Trist, I don't know what that one is, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
What?
Sure.
What?
Here we go. The main character will be Sauna Master and will be in charge of performing in various saunas. Smells, music, choreography, everything. We're looking for an art director. This is a job posting.
What?
Let me give you a few of the requirements for being the art director. Providing art Bible and ensuring Slavic art design, working on assets, level art, stuff like that. Epic knowledge of the Unreal Engine 5 art pipeline, and of course, attending sauna sessions. Non-negotiable. Entire team needs to understand the product.
There are so many red flags here. There's all of the red flags. I'm just waiting for this to be like a creepy 40-year-old guy only hiring women for his mandatory sauna muses. What is this?
Hold on. We're not done yet. Then there are some screenshots of a social media site. I don't know, Facebook maybe. Feel free to contact my narrative something. I don't know what that word. It's basically somebody's Facebook post or whatever contacting. Maybe we can offer you some work in Spectrum Studios. And then the person they were talking to responded, "Hi, we have already exchanged a few messages on the comments here. And from what you said, you consider naked sauna sessions a part of work responsibilities in your studio. I told you that's a deal breaker for me, and we've called it a day. Thank you for your offer, though."
Oh no! Why? Who falls for this? What human being? Okay, there's one of two options here. There's one of two options here, and neither of them are good. Option number one is the more like obvious, more likely. This is a creeper trying to get people in a sauna naked, and that's it. And who falls for that?
To be clear, it does seem to be like that this isn't a scam. Spectrum Studio exists. Apparently, there's other people that work for them, whatever. But it was legitimately required for all people on the team to have quote unquote sauna sessions together.
Then that's option number two. Is somebody thought this was okay? What's wrong with you? Like, what? Who does that's got like where is Spectrum Studios? Because I promise you that
this is Poland.
I was
This is
gonna
a
say, that is
Polish studio.
illegal in the United States. You would go to super jail in the United
Super
States.
jail. This is a Polish thing. Yeah, it just like I don't. What gets me about it is we all have to go together. It can't be that, hey, get into the mindset of what this is. Go, we'll reimburse you, but go have a day at the spa and make sure part of that, like a little more hands off.
Right,
Like just go
right.
experience it. You do want to understand, whatever. What even as the art director, what does a sauna look like? Sure, I can understand that a little more, even though Google exists. Like you can Google what a sauna looks like. This is required group planning sessions in a sauna.
Well, and even then, like, why do you have to be naked? Why is that required? Let people wear a bathing suit or towels
Yeah,
or
or
something.
a towel, or anyway. So watch out there.
I would come in fully clothed and just be uncomfortably warm in there. But
Snowsuit,
yes, and let that be like a statement being made.
a hazmat suit.
I would come in with those like dinosaur inflatable dinosaur suits or inflatable shark suits.
Here to work, boss.
Yep. That is-
Yeah. So anyway, watch out if you're looking for work with Polish game directors. Maybe specifically because of this person.
That is next level. No, thank you. I can't. That's it.
Good.
That's the
well,
end
I'm
of
not
it.
an art director. I'm not really in the art director realm anyway. So that one's.
Can you imagine
me.
if you were the art director, what art do you have to produce for this game? Like what is he gonna? What are they gonna?
Yeah, I'm not
ask
sure
you
how
to-
how adult this game is supposed to be.
Woof. Okay. Hey, should we get down to nerdy gritty?
Let's do it.
Let's do that right after this quick break. Hey y'all, before we get into our main topic today, I need to let you know that the Nerdy Gritty is brought to you by SavePoint Ministries. We're an organization that wants you to know that you are deeply loved and valued by Jesus. But we also believe that a physical, real-world community is something that's vital for all people. So we combine these two ideas, and we find what's called nerd-friendly churches for people who are looking for one. This is a place where you can learn about the love and salvation of Jesus, but you can also talk to somebody about your D&D character or what games you've been playing or whatever else. So if you're somebody who's interested in finding a nerd-friendly church, or maybe you are a pastor or a volunteer at a nerd-friendly church and you want to be featured, well then go over to our website, savepointministries.com, and we'd love to help you from there. Okay, let's actually get down to the nerdy gritty. I'm gonna swap through buttons here until I get the right one. Sorry there. I hit the wrong button a couple of times, and first I went to our outro, and so Granger started playing.
Oh, what a fun time.
And then I went to our our nerdy gritty with the guest, and so the cameras were all offset, and then I got it right the third time, so we're good.
Good work.
We're good. Yeah, thank you. Okay, hey, so recently E3 didn't happen, and because
It didn't.
yeah, that's a big deal because what
For
that
3
really
years
meant
now.
was that a ton of different organizations all did their own little E3 style game announcement. So there was Summer Game Fest, which was kind of the big one. Jeff Keighley kind of like runs this whole show now, not literally, but like he
Yeah,
he's the North Star.
The weird
Everybody's
part about
following
Summer
him.
Game Fest is that it is specifically a like hour or 2 hour long video game presentation show, like a live show that is also broadcast on the internet, and it also has like an in-person demo event. You can go and play the games and look at them. Summer Game Fest is also a term that is used to describe almost like basically a week's
You'll get there.
online, marketing presentations from various developers or groups of developers that have nothing to do with the actual Summer Game Fest event, but are lumped into this concept of Summer Game Fest, to the extent where on the Summer Game Fest website, there's 11 different presentations that are advertised on the site, but only one of them is actually called Summer Game Fest. So it's kind of this like weird combination of just general time when video game developers advertise, and also a very specific event.
So
And it happened.
yes, it happened. It included Nintendo Direct, a PlayStation State of Play, Ubisoft Forward, Xbox Game Showcase, Summer Games Phase, Summer Games itself, PC Showcase.
Yep. There's Devolver Digital had one.
Yeah, Day of the
Future
Devs.
of Play.
Yeah, there were
Wholesome Direct.
a lot.
Lots of stuff going on. 10 or 12 hours worth of stuff.
I mean, as much as we would have loved to watch every single one of these, we didn't want to watch every single one of these.
I didn't. No.
Yeah.
I watched 2, I think.
I watched 4, and 1 I regret watching. So, what did you watch, Fox?
I watched the Summer Game Fest one, and then I watched, I would say, most of the Xbox one.
Okay. I watched the big 3, Nintendo Direct, State of Play, and the Xbox Game Showcase. I also watched the Ubisoft Forward. I'll get it right off the bat. Nothing looked interesting in Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah, okay.
I
sure.
did not
Makes
care,
sense.
and it was boring, and I regret watching it. So, okay. Why don't we kind of swap back and forth here then with the ones that we didn't watch? So you can go ahead with one from Summer Game Fest, and I'll dig into Nintendo Direct. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's take a look at the different. We're not going to sit here and talk about every single game.
No.
That
Just
was
ones
mentioned.
that stuck out to us.
I basically picked a highlight game from several of the. What I did was I watched a couple, and then the rest of them I found a list of everything that was presented at Wholesome Games. Went through, watched a few. I watched some of the trailers, but I didn't actually watch the whole event.
I actually didn't sit and watch any of them. I was like folding laundry and put it on in the background, or cleaning up, put it on in the background.
That's
or
the right way to do it.
Yeah,
we got to remember this is just a bunch of advertising.
Right. We love video
okay.
games. We're big advocate of games, but at the same time, there are better
It's
things
okay to be
do.
interested, but it's also not something that requires you to sit there and give it your full attention. Because it's just people trying to sell you games.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do is just like pick an event or whatever, and then maybe I have them listed out as what's my favorite from Xbox, what's my favorite from this.
Okay.
Do you want to do that? You want to hit it that way?
There are a couple I want to hit from each of them.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying you can. Yeah, let's start with Xbox, which I think was both our.
Yeah.
Like, even not having
overlap.
watched the whole thing, it was, I think, the best one.
Oh,
the best.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. Every single game that I was like, oh, that looks fun, I'd play that, at the end said day one available Xbox Game Pass. And I was like, yes, because I have Game Pass, and that means I get to play all of these games. Like, Game Pass is very worth it. I'm just gonna say
it's all right.
It has saved me money.
Oh, for sure.
It hasn't just saved me money. It has saved me money and let me play some other games that I would have never tried otherwise. So,
Sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So let's hit Xbox first. What were some ones that stood out for you?
So let's see. Oh, South of Midnight. South of Midnight was one that it was kind of a stop motion style game that took place in the bayou. It looked like some sort of like mutated post-apocalypse, and you were riding on this giant fish, but it looked like a Burton-esque fun bayou romp in the like some sort of post-apocalyptic, radioactive bayou, and it looked so cool. The characters, it was a giant talking fish and the main character, and they both had so much charisma. Yes, this giant mutated talking fish had so much charisma. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah, it's got a super interesting art style. Like that it looks unique, and that always catches my eye when there's something that doesn't, like, ultra realistic graphics are fine.
Yeah.
But I'm more curious when something has its own style. So yeah, for sure. I mean, the big one for me at Xbox was, as we've already mentioned, Doom: The Dark Ages.
Right.
I'm very excited. I really love just leaning into the ridiculous heavy metal nature of it. I'm really glad, if you go back, you can see you can actually find some, like, in alpha testing footage from the original version of Doom 4, like before they decided to go with Doom 2016, like what that game was. The original, like, big idea that they got a ways into working on was essentially Call of Duty but Doom. Like, very, like, less ridiculous, less like cartoony, less fantastical, and much more like supposed to be more grounded and whatever.
We don't want that.
And I'm so glad they've gone this direction, because if that was where they went, that first game would have been probably fine, and then nothing. It would have flopped. When now we get Doom: The Dark Ages with a Captain America shield with a chainsaw on it. Like, I'm so excited for just the ridiculous nature, and it seems as though they are kind of changing up the combat type of, like, making some tweaks to it, where it seems a little more like big open areas, lots of enemies. Like, so I'm excited that they're also trying some new stuff with the actual gameplay instead of just making it all different window dressing. They're also seeming to trying some new stuff, which I like about that. I mean, I'm excited for experimentation, that kind of stuff.
One that was interesting to me was Expedition 33. So this was just a very beautiful game. It had what looked like an interactive turn-based combat, sort of. It was turn-based combat, but
clear, obscure. Yeah,
you can do things to, like, up your attack, or whatever else. More than anything, the premise is what really got me. At first I'm like, that sounds dumb, but then overall it was like, that's still really unique though. Like, this is, these days you want to say there's nothing new under the sun, but this feels new to me. The premise is there is an unknown entity that paints a number every little once in a while, and everybody of that age dies. And it's been counting down slowly over the years. And 34 was just painted. All the 34-year-olds died. And so all the 33-year-olds are now on this expedition to go see who's doing this, why it's happening, and put it to an end. And, like, again, at first I was like, that's dumb. But when I stopped and thought about it, I'm like, that's still a really unique and interesting premise that I've never heard of before, anything like it before. So I got to tip my hat to that. Like, this is something brand new, a new idea, and the game looks gorgeous. It really does.
It looks great. I also like the idea that, like, to me, it's always interesting that they go for a turn-based RPG these days.
Mm-hmm.
Turn-based RPGs have kind of fallen out of favor, even in, like, Final Fantasy. Like, the biggest ones now are the Persona games are turn-based, of course, but, like, far less common if you're not making a, like, super JRPG.
Yeah.
If you're not in a Trails game or something. And so it's interesting when something like this seems like it could have been, right across the plate action RPG, or even like a more, walking simulator type story narrative focused game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so I'm really interested in how that, like, how like, what led to this type of combat for this kind of game. They don't seem to. Yeah, it's cool.
The other two that I just wanted to mention real quick here. First of all was Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. It looks like a Bloodborne-esque game, but set in, like, the Revolutionary War era. And so your main character has a flintlock gun, but also magic and mythical beasts. It's really fast paced, so that's why I thought Bloodborne was kind of like the Souls-like style combat. You have this little, like, ethereal, it looked like a fox to me, but ethereal creature that floats around with you. It looks super cool.
Yeah, you got to take that Bloodborne anywhere you can get it, since they still haven't announced a remake or anything.
It's so good. Everybody wants a Bloodborne. Just make it. Ugh. Anyway,
It's weird that Blue Point isn't making a. They made the Dark Demon Souls remake, and that was really great.
yeah,
It's weird that they haven't been tasked with doing a Bloodborne.
yeah.
Maybe they have. We just haven't heard about it yet. But
Well, and then the last one was Wushang Fallen Feathers. Did you have something to say?
no, go ahead.
Oh, just that it looked like a kind of a general East Asian style, but it's Japanese horror souls. And what I literally have written here is, looks intriguing, but I'm not sold.
Sure.
It looks really cool. I like the idea of a Japanese horror souls thing, but the Souls-like is done a lot these days, and to set yourself apart, you got to have more than just cool style or whatever, So I'm not sold. We'll see how it is here, but I like the idea of a horror Souls and seeing how that plays out.
Well, I mean, you like Bloodborne, and that's a horror Souls. So I don't. I mean, they're all kind of horror-esque.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Calling it horror is the right idea. It's more like what's the Eldritch? More Eldritch, like
that's classic horror.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, Xbox had a really great presentation. Like there was a pretty common thought that they kind of needed to.
Yeah.
They kind of needed to say, hey, we actually do have some good games coming down the pipeline. A big problem with that is a lot of the games they're not exclusives. So I don't know if Xbox is gonna come out of the spiral that it's in at this point, because they're not doing great.
Well, Game Pass is their only thing.
And Game Pass is fine, but at the same time, I don't know. At the same time, okay, I'm not really that interested in the corporate viability of a video game. There's plenty of games without any particular developer
I will say, I love Game Pass for selfish reasons. I love that I get to play more games for less money. If it doesn't work out for them, I'm not worried about Microsoft. I'm worried about me. That's
right.
And that's
Microsoft will be fine.
Selfish. Yeah.
And if they're not, oh no.
Yeah.
There's no other people that make computers or video games.
Other than, I do have to say that there's a little bit of hypocrisy from both of us in saying that, but then also getting frustrated when they let entire studios go because they're not making enough money. It is sad for some people.
No. Well, yes, it would be exactly. It would be sad for the people making the games, not sad for Microsoft.
Yes. Yeah.
Microsoft are the villain there. I would actually say if you have less giant conglomerations buying up all these tiny studios, then there probably would be less. You still have studios close based on success of their games or not, but Hi-Fi Rush was successful and beloved, and they still shut them down.
Yeah.
That wasn't because of anything they did. It was just because of the bottom line from the corporation that owned them. So if less of those giant companies exist, maybe more of the smaller actual developers will be able to thrive a little better. But anyway, yeah, I'm not worried about that. But I do get your point. So it's sad when actual artists don't get to do what they're doing anymore.
Right. Absolutely, yes. I hope we find a sustainable video game market, because we haven't right now. Where we're at is not a sustainable video game market. I hope we find one. And yes, I have selfish thoughts when it comes to that. I want to play more games for less money. But the reality is that may not end up being the case.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a hobby, and it's a fun hobby, but it's just a hobby.
Maybe this is even a whole conversation, because I just watched a Defunct Land documentary, and one of the things the documentary talked about is when you have a product that with just the consumer, exclusively consumer, does not make enough money back, the first go-to is advertisers. So if you're, if you're, what is it, Alan Wake, and you don't think that you're going to make enough money back, well, then you also give advertising space to Energizer and AT&T. And or Verizon, right? And we all mocked them for that. We all said, "Haha, that's so dumb. Why, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous." But then the other option was to charge us more money.
Sure.
And so we we as the consumer have to recognize we either have to settle for microtransactions or advertising in game, or we have to settle for the $80 or $90 game.
Well, the problem with that though is we will never know if Alan Wake would have made enough money without those advertisers.
Alan Wake did not have... I made it up. Yeah, that was my first hand.
I mean, sure. True for whatever, but the publisher or whoever had the power to do this said, we're not confident enough in your game. So we're going to literally put commercials for Verizon and Energizer into your spooky horror game.
Yeah.
And we'll never know if without it, it would have been, in my mind, an objectively better game.
Yes.
But we'll never know if that would have been more successful.
Yeah.
Or successful enough. Yeah, that's a whole thing. The constant and never-ending greed and need for constant growth. Okay, let's get back into the cool games for gamers. You want to talk about? Let's continue with the big three. Let's talk about the state of play.
Yeah, I only had a couple here.
This is, I'm a Sony crony. I tend to focus on PlayStation games, so this is one I was most interested in. Again, I didn't actually watch it. I just kind of looked through a list of the games. The biggest one that I was interested in was probably Monster Hunter Wilds, but only if the multiplayer is way less janky than Monster Hunter World. Yeah, I think they might have made it better in Monster Hunter Rise, which was like a less big game. It was not a spin-off, but like a smaller game. But we tried to play Monster Hunter World together, and when we were playing, it was fun. But trying to get into each other's game
was a nightmare.
Just the dumbest system of all time, and we stopped playing because of that. We found something else to play that didn't waste a bunch of our time. And I'm really hoping that they just, we're not the only ones who feel that way, and I'm really hoping they say, drop in, drop out gameplay, whatever. Make it as easy as other games make it. We played Remnant 2 a couple of days ago, and it was extremely easy to jump in somebody's...
Extremely easy.
It was push a button.
I literally, you pushed a button, and then I pushed the OK button, and then I showed up in your game.
And then you were there in my game.
That should be it. Hey, all video games, that should be it. Why do we make it harder than this? That is a legitimate why. I'm not saying that in complaints. I want to know.
Why did you do it this way?
Why anything but that? Mario Party is the same way. Mario Party took 37 steps to be able to connect online with one of our guests, and it was the dumbest thing. Okay, sorry. Rant over for that. Monster Hunter in general has never been a franchise that I've been super excited about. I enjoyed playing it with you in as much as I enjoy playing games with you and our friend Gavin. We enjoy playing games together. I would probably never play a Monster Hunter on my own. Yeah. Whereas what were we just playing? Remnant 2 was a game that, hey, I might play it in my free time sometime. Probably not, but I might. It's fun. It's a cool game. I enjoyed it. Yeah. But Monster Hunter Rise was never one that or Monster Hunter in general was never one that really, really sold me. The creature design is spectacular in it, and the trailer looks great for that. The only one, other than a big one, the only new franchise that kind of caught my eye was the Ballad of Antara. It was beautiful looking and had, again, sort of a FromSoft style combat, which I really like. I just Googled it to remind myself, and the Game Informer title is Ballad of Antara is a gorgeous free-to-play action fantasy game.
Oh.
Yep. Free-to-play is a real big red flag for me.
Red flag.
Yes. So
that probably means Genshin Impact style.
Yeah. So that's
maybe even a gacha game.
I don't know how. It doesn't look like it at all. It would be a free-to-play type game, but free-to-play is always red flags.
It's easy to hide those things.
Yeah.
You just show the combat. You take out the UI. but you can just go into the store and buy, you know, some loot boxes and maybe get a new weapon or something.
Right. Yeah. So I'm no longer as excited about it just by seeing that that title, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm cautiously neutral, actually. I'm neutral on it. So I was excited. Now I'm just neutral. We'll see. But
Oh, and then we can't not mention Infinity Nikki,
yeah, we can because I don't remember what that was.
the dress up.
Oh,
The
right.
dress up. I mean, it generally looks cool, but also apparently it is the first console in the Nikki series console game. There are other mobile games which are gacha games,
Right.
and I won't be surprised if it just does that again. Like, so
Now, I do have to ask a very important question about this. Will there be a limit to the Nickies?
yeah, it's subverting your expectations.
No, that's false.
There's-
Blatant
there's
false
a-
advertising.
There's actually no Nickies. There's zero. They have zero room for Nikki technology in their
Yeah,
game.
it's none at all. No, okay. The real like star of the show here one, and the real one that I will absolutely play looks so good, and I'm so excited about is the new Astro Boy game.
Yes,
It's just called Astro Boy.
Yes,
And it looks-
Astrobot.
Oh, Astrobot. Sorry, Astrobot.
Astro Boy's
Astro
that
Boy,
other
yeah,
one.
an old anime. Astrobot looks so good. The stupid little like 2-hour demo was spectacular. The whole purpose of it was to highlight the DualSense controller.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, and it was meant to highlight the DualSense controller, and it was a little platformer. And me and my kids played the crap
Yeah.
out of this. Like,
I platinumed that like literally in the same day that we got the PlayStation.
Right.
Like, it was super fun.
because it was so fun. It really was. This was years ago when the PlayStation dropped. What, 5 years ago ish, something like that.
2020.
4 years ago. So 4 years ago, and we watched it, and all three of my kids still said, "Day one, we're getting that. That's 100% yes, absolutely." Like,
Luckily, it just came with the system, so
right. But no, it's the next one though. Astrobot.
yeah.
is
Oh, I
one
see.
that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
will be
yeah.
getting day one. We're 4 years later. We're still excited about it. It's just fun. Like,
It looks very joyful. It looks like a Mario competitor, like a platforming,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing.
well, and then the best news we're
which
talking
is
about
exciting.
how this is Sony's, like, finally Sony has a Sony first like mascot, where there has been like Crash Bandicoot was the Sony guy for a while, but nobody
You got
really
Crash,
cared.
you got Kratos, you
Mhm.
got
but
Aloy, you got the Tomb Raider.
but again, Tomb Raider's not a Sony.
Oh, Tomb Raider wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
And neither is Aloy. Aloy is it's a PlayStation exclusive, but it's made by a third party company, like Naughty Dog's stuff.
Well, okay, sure, I see what you mean.
Yeah. But Astro Boy is like Sony first, made by Sony for Sony, and all of their first party IP, they have little Astrobot versions of them in the game.
Sure, yeah,
and those
yeah.
are fun to encounter, cute stuff. Anyway, it's the first one was super fun. They're making a whole game out of it, and I'm stoked. Like, it may be, it is not my game of show, but it's definitely up there.
It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's hit up Nintendo real quick, and then we'll get to some of the more interesting, smaller stuff.
Yeah.
Less well funded stuff, I guess.
Well, then right off the bat, we got to talk about Echoes of Wisdom, right? That's got
The worst title since ever.
What?
Why is it not called The Legend of Link for Legend of Link Echoes of Wisdom, or even better, Legend of Link The Missing Link?
Oh,
Doesn't
Missing
make
Link.
any sense.
Missing Link is good.
Yeah,
What if they
call it
ever
Legend
made
of Zelda
sense?
The Missing Link. That's fine.
There was a Link to the Past,
Yes.
and it had nothing to do with time travel. It
Link's
wasn't until
Awakening?
Ocarina of Time. Link's
Yeah.
Awakening only made
That's
sense
literally because
when
he
you
wakes
found out
up.
at the end it was a dream. Spoiler alerts. Like,
Whatever, doesn't matter. Call it The Missing Link, you cowards. Echoes of Wisdom is garbage.
Echoes of Wisdom is the
It's
Kingdom
so
Hearts
generic.
nonsense. Yes, it is.
I mean,
It's
it
that.
makes sense for the game. You're making echoes of an item, and Wisdom is her, part of the Triforce. That's stupid and boring. Jerks. No, at the very least, call it The Legend of Link.
Yes. Yes.
Switch it.
Finally, after like 30 years of Zelda IP, you are Zelda searching for Link, the game that everybody's
Yes.
been asking for. Here it is, finally. They gave us Super Princess Peach years ago.
Well, yeah, and then didn't give us another one until last year, earlier this year, or whatever.
But still, that's
No.
two more than
It's just really
Zelda.
unfortunate that Nintendo has gone woke and they're making a feminist game where you play as a girl that are yucky and they don't talk to me. So I'm really
You almost made me
sad.
spit take. It's yucky and they don't talk to me.
No, I'm very excited for that one. It looks, not only does it, like, I'm excited for the concept of playing a Zelda, but also I enjoy that it's not just here's a Zelda game, but you play as Zelda. It's like an entirely different mechanic.
Yeah.
Like they found a new gameplay style. It's obviously building a little bit on the creativity of
Absolutely.
the series.
But it looks so cool in the creativity, like the
Yeah, it looks fun.
exploration.
I'm excited for the all bed run or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm beating. Can you beat Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom using nothing but chairs?
But I mean, it's the same amount of, not the same amount, but a similar amount of creativity that they have in the series, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, of just here are things, put them together to go wherever you want.
Yeah,
And but they've now done that. They've put it in the style of Link to the Past, which is my favorite Zelda game. And that's just that is such an attractive concept to me. I'm really stoked about this. I really am.
yeah, it looks really fun.
On top of that, Mario and Luigi Brothership is a new Mario and Luigi game. What I really liked about this one is the co-op looks solid in this. A solid couch co-op is something that we don't get a lot of these days. Just
Sure.
really, really good couch co-op games that aren't just you're doing the exact same thing, but here's two people doing it now instead of one. It's no, there is a benefit to playing with two people. There are puzzles to solve, things like that. And so I'm stoked with that. Games I can play with my kids. That looked really good.
Can we agree that the Metroid Prime gameplay looked real boring?
It looked exactly like everything
It
else.
looks like I'm playing Metroid Prime on the GameCube 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it exists, which is more than I could say for it before
Right.
this. Like,
Apparently the development has been pretty rough. Like it
Fraught.
kind of, yeah. So I don't know what the exact
but
process is there, but it did not look that interesting.
I'm guessing it's got the same problem as Starfield. Is this is a game that started its development a decade ago, and so it looks like a decade old.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, and so it's gonna have the notes of what they started so long ago when it's already been outdated
Right.
3 times over. You know, so
Yeah,
it looked pretty generic. I mean, if you like Metroid, it didn't look bad by any means. I'm not gonna say it looked bad, but as somebody who's
guess.
not a Metroid fan, it did not entice me.
sure.
Literally, my note on it was, "It exists."
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's not just a logo anymore.
The Dragon Quest remake looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I love that 2D HD style. I'll probably play that one.
Yes, and then the 2D 3D sort of like mixed together is just
Yeah, Octopath, the Octopath Traveler style.
yes.
That just has been, yeah, I like it. It
And-
feels like it refreshes an older game, but not in a way that just is going to break the bank as far as your like engine goes and stuff.
Yeah. But the one that really hit me as far as new IPs go was Mio Memories of the Forest. It felt like in its gameplay felt a lot like the Ori games, Will o' the Wisp.
Sure.
And,
Yeah, a Metroidvania.
yeah, Metroidvania 2D style, or what's the popular one that we're still waiting for Silksong, Hollow Knight.
Sure.
Yeah, but the art style of these sort of like watercolor, like real soft palette world looks so intriguing. It adds an air of mystery to it that, whether they're trying to put it there or not, just the world itself feels mysterious because of the art style that they chose. And I really like that. That was very attractive to me.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, that's it for me. That's everything I watched and I'm aware of.
Yeah, let's move on to some of the other showcases. Did you watch the Wholesome Games?
I did not. So you can give me
Okay,
names and I'll Google it.
Let me give you one or two that looked interesting to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Hold on, where's my wrong tab here? Oh, Squeakross. You ever play a Picross game?
Oh yeah.
This is Squeakross. It's
How do you
essentially
spell that?
Squeak, ROSS.
Okay. There it
So-
is. All right.
Think of decorating your house in Animal Crossing, but you gain items by playing Picross. The Picross like grid will turn into an item, like a chair, like it looks like a chair and it turns into, and then you decorate your rat house.
It's like a mouse cage.
Yeah,
But as you get better, your mouse cage turns into like a mouse apartment.
yeah. I have spent a lot of time playing mobile Picross games, just wasting my life while playing them. And if I could decorate a mouse house with it, man, that's not wasted time anymore, you know?
Right,
That's
exactly.
time well spent.
That mouse is gonna appreciate this, man.
Yeah, for real.
This
The
is really
wholesome
cool.
games, I always appreciate when there are people out there trying to, not to try to lessen the deluge of shoot stuff games. I'm also obviously okay with shoot stuff games. Looking forward to Doom, but I do appreciate there's always a lot of ideas that don't feel like something that PlayStation really ever cares about. So Caravan Sandwich, it's like an exploration game at the end of the world. You're driving around. There's not a whole lot of story specific stuff.
Oh, sandwich is 2 words here.
Yes,
All right.
the Caravan Sandwich.
Caravan Sandwich. And
Oh no, on Steam it's one word. It's sandwich, but with capitalized W.
what is this game about? You're in like it looks like a RV.
Yeah, you're driving around. It's essentially the end of the world, apparently.
Right.
Like the world is ending. There's some kind of cataclysm going on or whatever, and you're just kind of exploring and meeting people. And
All
you know?
right. Yeah, I'm
There's
clicking
no
around on some
combat,
of the
no
pictures
death.
and yeah, I don't see it's just either somebody sitting on the car or somebody sitting on a roof.
you help people out. You
And
know,
yeah, all right. This is interesting. I mean, I guess this is the wholesome games.
this is the whole idea. Is
yeah,
that you're not
so-
here to you're here to have a good time. It's
All
about
right.
the vibes than it is more than it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, lots of other stuff we could talk about here.
it does have a nice art style though. Caravan Sandwich. I do.
Did you ever play a walk in the woods? Not a walk in the woods. A short hike.
Yeah,
A
short
short
hike.
hike.
Yes.
Yes. The other game that jumped out to me was Building Relationships, which is described by the developer as a short hike, but you play as a house.
Is A building relationships?
Nope, Building Relationships.
Just building
it's a
relationships.
literal title. You are
Game.
a sentient house that rolls around this map that looks like a Nintendo 64 map. And you
I
talk
clicked
to
on
other
a picture
buildings.
here, and there's just a house, and then a text box that says, "Anyways, are you ready to meet the bachelor pads?"
Yep. There's going to be a lot of building-based puns and dating.
I love this. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Next level hilarious. I mean, good job. I was gonna say, who thinks of these? Like,
Exactly.
who comes up with this stuff? But you know what? Good job. I'll give that to you. There's
To me,
a fishing mechanic looks like here.
oh yeah.
Man. I want
To
to
me,
play
it
this.
feels like it's somebody who said, when we think about a game, it's really just avatars for it's not like the character. You can just be a house and do the same exact things. We can do whatever we want.
The house literally just rolls around.
Oh.
You're just rolling around.
Yep,
Got me?
you're just a house rolling
Yeah,
around.
the house
this map.
is just rolling around. This is weird, man. This is hilarious. I'm into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very funny, and also just commenting on video games in general. It's
Oh,
you can be a house or whatever. It doesn't really matter for a dating sim. It's really just about the who cares what you look like.
yeah. And
Might
I
as
mean,
well just be a building.
it'll be a game to stream for a lot of people too. 'Cause how goofy it
100%.
is. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
What else we
let's
got?
move on to another one. What else did you watch?
That's it. We went over everything I watched.
You watched? Okay, well let's talk about
Yeah.
any other highlights on.
Oh, so we got everything?
Whatever else you got. If you got any other highlights from any of the other,
No, we ran out. I talked
Wow,
about all of
okay.
my things. Yeah.
I assumed you had looked. Well, you're nothing. Hey, are you excited
Did
about
you just
the,
say you're nothing?
maybe that
You
was
said,
an unintentional
well,
slip,
you're
but
nothing.
I do believe it. Are you interested in Star Wars Outlaws? You're
Oh,
more of a Star
nope.
Wars person.
Nope, I'm not.
No.
No.
Yep. Okay.
Star Wars has become too diluted for me. There's way too much going on for me to.
Too much woke
Uh,
nonsense.
no, actually,
Got
some of that stuff
women.
I like. But the main 9 movies I know very, very well. The original 3 I know very well. Outside of that, my Star Wars knowledge falls real fast.
So you're a fake fan.
Sure,
is
man.
What you're saying.
I think that's really a big part of it for me. Is the Star Wars community has become the most toxic community
just terrible.
that I am a part of. Like, I know
Yeah.
there are probably more toxic communities out there, but ones that I am actively a part of and want to talk to people about these things, they've definitely become one of the most toxic communities that I'm involved with. And so I just, because of that, I don't care that much anymore. And so, yes, the Star Wars Outlaws just, no, doesn't look good to me.
Okay, then let me real quick just go with Devolver Digital Talos Principle 2.
Ooh.
The Talos Principle was the first puzzle game, as far as like, I mean, there's puzzle games I played when I was younger, but like the first specifically puzzle game that I remember playing and beating and feeling real smart about it.
Hmm.
And I'm excited. Like I might do that again just to try to recapture that. Like I generally don't like puzzle games, but Talos Principle for some reason did it for me, and so maybe this one will too. And then Day of the Devs has a very interesting game called UFO 50, which they've talked about it on the Besties a little bit, but it's essentially it's 50 different games that are part of a fake app console. But they're not just like little mini games; they're like actual full games that you can play on this.
But it's like Nintendo era, like
Essentially, yeah, what if this other console existed, but we just forgot about it? Here are 50 games you can play on that console.
This is pretty
which
cool.
Just sounds like a really big endeavor, and I that sounds really fun. Like that.
Well, if your whole goal is to make a 1-hour game or a 2-hour game or whatever, and you're at a game,
it seems as though there might be bigger games than that.
Oh, man,
like
that's cool.
Full-size games from that era.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously there were a lot of games. Can't go through all of them, but
right. Just like
every year, there's lots of games. But every year does the Summer Game Fest started, I think, 2 years ago, kind of in tandem when before E3 officially died. And every year since, I've wondered, and I want to discuss this just a little bit here. Is Summer Game Fest just going to die like E3 died?
I don't think so. Here's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think Summer Game Fest is going to become similar to Day of the Devs or Wholesome Games, where if you do not have a large publisher that is going to showcase your game, then you can go to Summer Game Fest. Because everyone else, it's going to be much cheaper for them just to keep showing their own stuff. People are going to want to watch Nintendo Directs. They're going to want to watch Xbox
they don't
games
need anybody else to advertise their games for them.
Exactly. They're going to show that stuff, and Summer Game Fest is not going to get those games. They are not going to go to Summer Game Fest and spend more money unnecessarily.
Sure.
But there will still be games out there, good games, larger games. Heck, Hades 2, is games like this that don't have large publishers but still need a place to showcase, or still going to want a place to showcase.
Sure.
And I think that's where Summer Game Fest is going to live.
It just feels so weird to like say E3 is dead. Now we have Summer Game Fest, when Summer Game Fest essentially is the same thing. It's a little less. Like E3 had actual physical in-person presentations from 3 or 4, at least the big 3 for a long time. The big 3 plus Ubisoft plus maybe another that I'm forgetting now. It started to change toward the end. PlayStation stopped going, things like that. And it had several days, maybe even a week of like in-person gaming. And sure, Summer Game Fest is less than that. It's a 2-hour presentation and then like a weekend of in-person stuff. But it still just feels like a smaller version of this thing that just died because the pandemic showed us we didn't need it.
Well,
So it just feels like it's trying to do something like why doesn't Jeff Keighley just put together a Summer Game Fest that's purely a 2-hour online marketing video instead of doing this entire in-person thing? Like, what value does that add to the actual marketing thing for most people? Obviously, journalists get to go and play the games and report on it, but you can also send a digital demo to somebody. Like, it's not like you need to be in person. So it just feels like let's try to reanimate this corpse, but then you get a shambling mess and it's just gonna fall apart again.
I think two things to this real quick here because we're running out of time. But
Yes.
Number one, E3 was dying before the pandemic.
That's
E3
true.
was dying way before that
Sony decided to stop, and that was like oh, wait a minute.
because they had a style that was already outdated, and then the pandemic just forced that ahead.
Yeah.
I think what we'll be telling for Summer Game Fest is how much people continue to care about publications' opinion. If people continue to care about Joystick and Polygon and all these other, video
IGN
game,
and yeah,
IGN
sure.
and whatnot, then Summer Game Fest will continue as is because people are going to want to know what these people thought about it. And if you want those people to think good things about it, you want to invite them to a booth, get them a drink, some food, chat with them, like make
Pay them money to give you a good review.
Yeah, all of these things you want to be able to have the chance to do. No, you can pay them money from a distance these days.
Yeah, exactly.
There's PayPal. No, the in-person experience definitely changes somebody's opinion of things. I found this with wine, right? If somebody buys me a bottle of wine, it can be good, it can be bad, whatever. But if I go into a winery and there's somebody there talking to me about it and I'm having a conversation, it tastes better.
No, it
it's
doesn't.
Weird. Like,
no, it
just-
doesn't.
it
You
tastes-
just had a more enjoyable experience.
Exactly that. Exactly
I understand that. That doesn't change the flavor of the wine.
Hold on.
It has a more enjoyable experience.
Exactly that. And that's exactly what I mean. The game is the exact same game that they're playing at home or in person, but the in-person improves the experience. And therefore, these publishers or developers want the journalists to come to an in-person experience because it improves the experience. It's the same game, exactly what you're saying. It's the same game there or here, but the in-person experience heightens it, makes it better, and therefore you want that opportunity to give them a better experience. Therefore, they go back and write better things about your game. So if we continue to care about publications, Summer Game Fest will continue as is. The moment we stop caring about them is when Summer Games Fest will die. That's my thought.
Maybe. I can understand. I understand what you're saying. It is a fun experience to go to PAX and play some demos. The issue is there are lots of games where I'm there playing the demo and I'm like, yeah, this is genuinely fun, and then I forget about it forever.
Again, exactly that. How many games that have we played at PAX that we have said on a video that I could pull up right now on our old YouTube that you and I've said, oh, I will definitely be playing this. I'll be playing this.
Tales of Arise is the one I can think of.
Right. So I would say it's like 5% of the games that we say that about that we actually play. But in the moment, in the experience, we say very good things about it. We are those people who have gone, said very good things about it, and then come home and never thought about it again. But
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
We're going to PAX this year for 2 days, and I'm so excited to not record videos.
Yeah, to not have to edit them.
I'm so excited to just play some games and
Yeah,
chill.
dude. Yeah. So, like, the proof is there. You and I are the proof. Like, we have done
Yeah, it's
exactly
a good point.
this
All
thing.
right, I'll cede you that one. Good point.
Okay. Let's get to what
Summer
we've been
Game
up to.
Fest will not last anywhere near as long as E3.
It'll all depend on how we interact with publications.
Yeah,
Really.
to a certain extent.
Okay. What have you been up to, Fox?
We are watching. No, what am I playing? Control. I decided to play Control again. I want to play Alan Wake 2, but it was too expensive for me at the time, and I was like, Control is on the PlayStation catalog, like the PlayStation Plus catalog. I'll get back. I played through it one time. I remember being like, why was this considered so good? Or something. And I was like, but I might as well play it again. And it's, in that Remedy flavor. It's got that paranormal esque, and I'm really enjoying it on this playthrough. Like it's like super fun just getting into the weirdness of the altered world events and the objects of power and just kind of the otherworldly nature. The level design is incredibly good.
Hmm.
The architecture of it, the weird stuff that happens that doesn't actually make sense, but in the context of the game, they make it make sense. And you're
Mhm.
just like, yeah, if I pull this ripcord 3 times, I'll magically transport to the archetypal roadside motel in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, like that just makes
It
sense.
just makes sense.
They've explained the rules so well that you accept the ridiculous things that happen, and the fact that this safe is shooting things at you. This literal safe is like throwing stuff at you. You're like, yeah, because it's an object of power, and because of this, and because of the collective unconscious, I get it. You like, no, that makes no sense. But they've done a really good job of making it happen, and also giving you an engaging story and wanting to know what happens, making it very personal for the main character. Very good performance from, I forget her name, but the main character is Jessie Faden. She's really great performance from her. So Control, it's really fun.
Nice. A real quick one. My kids and I, for whatever reason, dipped back into Overcooked, and me and my oldest beat Overcooked.
Wow,
Yeah.
impressive.
If you've never heard or know Overcooked, it's a challenging multiplayer cooking game, and to
It's
say
a
that
co-op game that tests the relationships.
yes, and to say that we beat it is
That's good.
a medal,
That's
a mark
impressive.
that we have. We're very proud of that. So yeah, good job, Ray. I love you. Good work. But really, I want to talk about Hellblade: Senua's Saga.
Sure.
This is the sequel to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which I replayed before, and it playing it the third time now. Obviously, there's been a lot of like patches and stuff. So when I first played it, it was pretty buggy. It was not at all this time, which really helped.
Sure.
It's a great game, right? It's a beautiful game. I didn't think I'd cry a third time, and I did, but it's just so good. The second one, I'm only a couple of hours into. I was worried about, okay, how are they going to follow up this game and how they talk about mental health and mental illness and how this works. I will say that I am a little disappointed that, again, only a couple hours in, but thus far it feels like the mental illness side of things is not highlighted. It is just a part of the game. It is a character, like part of her characterization. It is not something in the first game, they wanted to highlight it and make you as the player understand it.
Sure.
They wanted to make sure that you got what was happening here so that when you walked away, not only did you better understand Senua and the story, but you better understood this mental illness. Now it just feels like another thing that is happening among all of the other things.
That makes sense to me. Like, I feel like that actually makes sense where you can only sustain it for so long.
Yeah.
And so to try to continue that, like, it would feel like it might cheapen the first game. Where, like, it feels like that would be a game where I'd be surprised if they originally planned on having a sequel. So it feels to me like that game would be, here's what we want to say, that's the game.
Yeah.
Oh, it was super well received. I guess we're going to make a sequel. Let's not try to just drag that out more. As well as if you're continuing a story, I don't know. I obviously haven't played either, so
Right.
But it makes sense to me that wouldn't try to continue to be the major focus. But also, I could see why that might be a downside of the game, if that's what was so good about the first one.
Right.
It's kind of a double-edged sword there.
So,
Makes
and
sense.
that's more of a personal opinion. Like, the game is very good. I'm still
Sure.
loving and enjoying it. What they have done now is, in the first one, it was all like this question of, is this real? Is this not real? It doesn't matter because it's real to Senua. That's what's real. That's what's important, is this is real to Senua. But you are fighting mythical creatures this whole time. The basic premise of this is you have decided that nobody will ever suffer from the Northmen who raided your village again. And so you purposefully got caught as a slave so that you could then go back and kill everybody. And it begins with a shipwreck, and you wash up on shore and you find like a random sword and you go to start trying to fight some of these people. And the combat is similar, but much slower. It feels much heavier
Oh, interesting.
because it feels more real.
Huh.
The combat in the first one was great. In this one, it's great, but if you're fighting something, a real human being, the sword hits feel like stronger. There are times when they're literally physically stronger than you and your blocks don't work as well. Like there are just, it's much more physical feeling. There is a weight to the real combat that feels great. It makes it feel different. But there were other times when you are fighting mythical creatures, and that feels more like the first game, and it's fascinating the way that they have separated these. The if you're fighting something that is absolutely real, it feels dangerous. Every button push you have feels like a risk. Every block feels necessary. But when you're in the mythical side of things, you're trying to power up your mirror so that you can stop time, and and it's a totally different style of combat. It done so well. On top of this, they've added some new elements to her, like she sees things, her schizophrenia and whatnot, and it definitely is some like gorgeous visuals. The game might look the most real of any game I've ever played before. Which it wants you to feel like this is a very real story, but it also makes when you are parrying somebody and then shoving a sword underneath their armpit, it's not overly gory or overly action based like it would be in a lot of games. It feels like a desperate moment that you have just murdered a man. And you feel that. And again, it wants you to, and it's so good. It's so good. It's wonderful. I'm very interested to see how it keeps going. Again, I do feel like I am missing part of the first game, but like you said, they can't just continue it. I agree with that. So I will be, once I beat it, I'll be talking about it again. But for now, I'm really, really loving it. I
am. Faith and I have been watching Twin Peaks. Several years ago, we watched a lot of. There's the original series, then there's like the new season that came out just a couple of years ago. But we decided to get back to start over from the beginning because it's such a weird show that it's not like you can barely remember all the details. Right. And you don't want, I didn't want to. I wanted to be like, let's get back into the weirdness. I want to see all these weird characters. What I love about Twin Peaks, and actually the episode that we watched last night, kind of said it like just like right out, like said it out loud, was Dale, what's his name?
Earhart.
Dale Cooper. Kyle MacLachlan's character. He's the FBI agent who comes to Twin Peaks, this tiny town in the Pacific Northwest, to help investigate the death of Laura Palmer, a high schooler. And everybody in this town has secrets. Everybody's weird. Everybody's got quirks. Everybody's got something, there's 1,000 scenes of somebody has a phone call about a mysterious thing and hangs up, and then the camera moves and there's somebody there who's like, did they buy it, that kind of thing. Like, oh, they're now in on this. Like, and it feels as though David Lynch and Mark Frost, the creators of it, started with the premise, had some ideas for some characters, and then just said, let's have that person carry a domino. We'll find out why.
This sounds like Lost.
Who knows? And then, another few episodes go by, and they're like, "Oh, it's because of this." Whatever. Like, it really just feels like whatever they came up with in the moment, that's gonna happen, and then we'll figure it out as we go. It's like a Lost, but a much more interesting version of Lost.
Yeah.
Where Lost was about like, oh, it's creepy and mysterious or whatever, and this just feels like, let's just be weird about it and not worry about. Like, the whole premise of the investigation of the murder kind of just like goes away after a little while. Like, it's not about that. Like, that is still there, but that's not the point of this show. That's just to get you hooked onto this weird setting. And now anytime a character shows up, you're like, oh, I love this weirdo. Let's see what they're up to now. It's so good. But Dale Cooper comes in, and he is like the straight man essentially in this entire weirdness. Like, not that he's not funny, but that he is the one without secrets. And so he feels like he's the one that should be investigating all this. Like, you trust him implicitly because there's never a moment, so far at least, where you're like, oh, he's corrupt or he has a secret of his own. In fact, a character asks him, well, do you have any secrets? And he just straight up says, no. And maybe that could change. Who knows? But I really like the idea of him just being this he's still kind of weird, but more personality than secretive. Anyway, I love Twin Peaks. It's super fun. You should watch it. Anybody should watch it. Well, at least once.
Music has been flowing through my family's house constantly recently. I mean, it always does. We're a musical family. But specifically, we discovered, my oldest discovered, introduced to the rest of the family, Lydia the Bard. Lydia the Bard is a YouTube musician,
I feel like you've talked
type of stuff.
about this person recently.
Real, maybe to you specifically. I don't think I talked about
maybe.
it on the podcast. But she does villain songs.
Oh, yeah.
She does villain songs for Disney characters. So Disney heroes.
Who are not villains.
So it's all like parodies or in a minor key versions of their other songs. So like Mirabelle does We Don't Talk About Bruno, but it's now her villain song, and the whole idea of we didn't talk about Bruno long enough and I didn't know this and you never let me know, so you know what? Screw you guys. I'm part of destroying this house now. Like, you never spoke about this to me. You kept this from me, and now that I know, I hate you for it. And I like some of the stories in the songs more than I like what actually happens in the book or in the movies. I mean, in the movies, yeah. Like, that was one. I like that more than actual Encanto. Encanto was the animation and everything was beautiful. Music was incredible. The story itself was a disappointment to me. But so I like that story better. There's one of Anna from Frozen, and it's for the first time in forever, but it's her saying for the first time in forever, I don't care about you anymore. This has been the last straw. I finally feel free for the first time in forever. I don't care that you're my sister. I don't care. Like, you have treated me like crap for 2 decades, and I don't care anymore. I don't care.
That's fun. So, that's nice.
Yeah. The music is spectacular. It all makes sense within the story itself. Meg's song from Hercules is Hercules did not save her when she went to Hades, and so she overthrew Hades and is now going back up to take over the surface world. Like,
sure, of course.
Yeah, it's a real great. I love the little stories that she makes, and she's an incredible musician. Highly recommend Lydia the Bard.
Okay, well, that's all I've got.
Well, I got one more real quick then. I watched Inside Out 2 with my family.
Oh, cool.
It is... To say it's as good as the original is not accurate, because the original took an idea that had never been done before and just made a masterpiece, right? It's spectacular, incredible film, so good. Well, one of the most recent, more recent Pixar knock it out of the park in a while. This, if that is a 9.5 out of 10, then this is a 9 out of 10. It is not as good, but right up there with it. It especially resonated with me, legitimately, felt like, the Holy Spirit was prodding at me while watching this movie, spoke to me.
As a teenage girl yourself.
Because I'm a 13-year-old girl, and no, because of the way they portray anxiety in this. And they portray anxiety so well and so successfully, what it means to have an anxiety disorder, what it means to have an anxiety attack. Like, these things, just one small thing, one small spoiler. At one point, anxiety has co-opted the imagination. So the imagination in Riley's brain no longer is imagining fun, fantastical things. Now it's a worst case scenario generator.
Sure.
So you're always prepared for the worst case scenario. And I told my wife, hey, that's it. That's legitimately what it's like for me. I'm not in control. I don't want to do this, but my brain is always coming up with these worst case scenarios that I feel like I need to be prepared for or worried about or concerned about or whatever else. That's it. That's how it feels. And she's like, that's bonkers. I never thought about it that way before, and being able, it almost felt like when people talked about Hellblade, where I got to show this to my family and they understood my mental illness for the first time ever. This was definitely that for me. Being able to point at things in this, I don't want to spoil it because I want people to watch it, but being able to point at many things in this and say, yeah, this is how it is. But at the same time, I felt empowered almost to say, if I now that I can recognize it in this way, I have more control over what's happening. So
Gotcha.
anyway, super good movie, really good. Has a lot of the same charm and comedy and like really good stuff going on, but at the same time, just definitely spoke to me as somebody who has an anxiety disorder. Really, really good movie. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we got.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, guys. Hey, let us know what you thought about the Summer Game Fest or game releases. What some of your standouts, some of your thoughts about everything that's going on there. We want to say a big thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song and theme song. All my friends have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors, off of the album Dear Sam. Thank you very much, Granger. You are cool.
You're all right. Yeah. Hey, and if you didn't know, the Nerdy Gritty is not just its own thing. It's part of the Save Point Ministries, a ministry that exists to encourage people and help people find real life community. We love the internet sometimes. It helps the world in a lot of ways, but also can be very dangerous if that is the only place where people find community. Not that online community can be inherently bad, but it does not have the same effect as in-person, real-life contact. Just in-person community that I think that we believe that everybody is created to need.
Yeah.
So what we do here at Save Point is try to help people find that community, specifically at a church. We believe in the church. We are part of the church. And we know the church is not perfect, but we do believe that it is one of the best places to find that community that everybody craves. So if that is something that you feel like you're lacking in your life, hey, get in touch. Find our Discord. Get on to just go to SavePointMinistry.com. We can help you find a church to get in touch with. Also, jump on our Discord because we do have good community there.
Yeah.
Is that hypocritical? Maybe. Don't worry about it. Just kidding. It's
It's Medicaid.
yeah.
Medicaid.
So anyway, Save Point Ministries. We are so thankful that you are a part of this community that we have here online. But we do think there can be an even stronger one out there for you.
Once more, guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all your support. And always remember that saved games save lives.
Bye.